Hello, this is Tony Poblador. First of all, I'm blessed to be presenting this information and to thank you, Christian Men Inc., for this wonderful invitation here. And it's an opportunity to share an important information about how to protect your future. By the way, our short topic today is about planning for long-term care. And of course, I would like to, reach out to get your house in order. Folks there, especially men, that there's some important things that I want you to take note here in the next 15 minutes. And this is quite important for our future. So by the way, let me just throw one question here. Do you know anything about custodial care? It may sound like, what is a custodial care? Because it's a nice introduction here, because this custodial care is the things that we do day in and day out. These are the most important basic duties or functions that we do as human beings here, especially when we get up in the morning. So I'll cite the first one among six. How about eating? That's a basic function. Bathing. Third one is dressing. Next one is transferring. Imagine like you're getting out of bed, you move from your bed to your chair. Of course, each time, maybe early in the morning, anytime you need to do toileting. The sixth important function or activity that we do is walking around, walking around. So those are actually termed under what you call custodial care. So imagine any one of those activities you are not able to do because, let's say, you hurt your leg, or you have a stroke, or you went through an accident. Worse is, let's say, you went to a hospital, and then after a certain number of days, say 90 days, and then, your plan says, you know what, you're bound for long-term care or extended care. So the next thing is going to happen is you have to spend time at home or in nursing home. So that's what you call custodial care. And the topic we'll talk about is how can you address long-term care when custodial care will not be covered by your health insurance. And I'll talk a little bit later on about Medicare. So first thing we have to talk about is connecting you to what matters most. You see, the need for long-term care, especially nowadays, especially as people age longer, has the potential to derail your plans and impact your connection to the things that matter most. Of course, we know when somebody is sick, when grandma is sick, or whatever, or mom has a stroke, it affects three major things: in the family, of course, your home, of course, and the number one actually aspect where people need to pull money out is from your retirement account, which is your nest egg. Who needs it? That's a very, very good question to start with. No one knows what the future holds in store. As people age, of course, it's natural that they may need help with things they once were able to do for themselves. And nowadays, you encounter people, the younger ones, going through accidents and injuries. It can happen to a 25-year-old kid, and they may need long-term care. So you know what? Thinking about long-term care is quite a very emotional aspect. So let me throw you some of these questions, because it did happen to me also before my mother-in-law passed away. So questions like, who in your family needed long-term care? What happened and who provided the care? Those are questions that you need to think about. Who paid the bills? At the end of the day, money is always involved. The financial aspect is very important. Were there any strains in the family? I remember when going to my mother-in-law when she passed away 6 years ago. She was a very nice person. She took care of my younger daughter. But when, her mental capacity deteriorated, I didn't blame her, but it was tough. It was stressful for me and my wife. If you have children, can they take care of you? Those are questions you need to know. Will they be comfortable using your savings, my hard-earned money, to pay for my care? So, I mean, especially in the Medicare world, where I specialize in Medicare, you know, people realize, hey, maybe the Medicare will take care of my long-term care. Actually, not. For custodial care, remember those 6 activities of daily living? I repeat, eating, bathing, dressing, transferring, toileting, all of these things, your first custodial care, are never covered under Medicare. So, it's so, when I look back before, when my grandmas were alive, I remember how hard it was having grandma to live with you, right? I mean, we prefer her to live at home, but eventually she had to go to the nursing home. Sometimes, my younger son had to give up his room. It's tough. Um, when someby needs long-term care, it can happen to me. I mean, of course, we may have only 2 bathrooms at home. It's pretty tight. So these are questions we need to think about, especially when the care comes around, and where would the money come from? And the most important thing is, do you have a plan in place ready? Now we have what you call the common myths about long-term care, which I already mentioned earlier. Well, people thought that your health insurance, my health insurance, covers long-term care services. No, they don't cover. Again, they don't cover custodial care. Remember those 6 activities of daily living? Those are never covered by your health insurance or medical insurance. Now I mentioned again, Medicare will cover all my long-term care costs. That's not true. It will not cover custodial care. Remember, let me highlight again, custodial care can be provided by your family member. If you're married, your spouse, anything that's non-medical that can be provided, like like bathing you, feeding you, those are not covered by your health insurance, not covered by Medicare. And people think, you know what, Medicare is the same as Medicaid. That's a totally different aspect. Maybe Medicaid can cover that, but there's something what we call spending your assets, which we won't talk about here later on. And people think, I'm too young to buy long-term care. As I told you, I have a client 15 years ago. He was less than 30 years old, hurt in an accident because they own a construction company. And this kid is about 20 years old, fell from the roof and paralyzed from his, lower body, and he cannot function anymore. He's on a wheelchair. It's a good thing the family purchased just a small amount of long-term care insurance before. At least it's better than nothing. But again, it can happen to any ages. Let's move on. Where are services provided? As a matter of fact, if you ask me, the people that they took care of long-term care, helped them plan through the years, they prefer having it at home. But again, people think, you know what? The most common scenario is going to a nursing home. Yeah, But again, if you have properly planned for long-term care, you can have either way. You can have it at home, which is number one place there, or any community center, assisted living facility, or nursing home. Now, we'll talk about numbers because it's always important to know about the cost, the manufacturer. So, we put their home health aid because, let's say if you have just like an ordinary illness that you cannot probably bathe or eat, so you need a person like a home health aide or a nursing aide taking care of you. So nowadays, it's about $25 per hour. So you'll see the numbers there from the left on a yearly basis and a per hour basis. So you see there from the nursing home right to the private room, it costs more. Another question we have to think about is who will pay. I think I mentioned this earlier, because the funds where the money is coming from may not be available when you need them. And most of the time you may have to sell valued assets. Liquidating assets may trigger income taxes and result in the loss of future earnings because it's an emergency, and that's the only way for some folks to really get some funds from. And then again, we can always talk about Medicaid, but not at this portion, because if somebody's qualified for Medicare and they may cover long-term care, then that's probably for those folks who have limited assets. After folks have spent down their assets, and those are some scenarios we could talk about later on. Another important question is, yes, I mentioned this earlier, how will you pay for long-term care? Well, I've mentioned here only about long-term care insurance and everything, but maybe some people plan something like self-insured. Hey, I saved some money here, whatever, because I may use that money or funds later on when I or grandma or anybody should get sick. But again, it's always smart to get the help of a professional. Hey, you could leverage that money. I know it's not easy to save for long-term care because one important thing, no one knows when they will need long-term care. It can happen today or the next year or next 5 years. So my advice is protect a portion of your assets so you could use them as planned, and always stay connected to the things that matter most. Why is it important? Well, the practical ways to purchase a long-term care insurance. Again, I may say this may be appropriate for some people and maybe not for some people, but it's one of the I would say common way. If somebody has certain qualifications, like health wise, and if you have money set aside for insurance premium, then this could be a good one, because it could pay a portion of your long-term care expenses and helps protect your retirement assets, allows you to spend your retirement the same way. In short, having a long-term care policy, because that's one of the goals I do, is to provide you what you call financial peace of mind. And at the same time, well, the goal of most customers that we serve is, you know what, I'd rather stay home because which is good. So if you're planned for long-term care, especially if somebody has purchased a policy where it allows them to stay at home, that's great. But again, nowadays, with the high incidence of long-term care, because people are getting older, actually not many insurance companies are really into the long-term care business, but there's a lot of hybrid ways that we could talk about privately later on. And it could help you with household tasks like cleaning, meal preparation, help with personal tasks like bathing and dressing, providing you help for what you call the custodial or 6 activities of daily living. And of course, services that we provide by any licensed professional, home health aide, a nurse. And it can also provide you for, in some instances, for special equipment like walker. And, can also do with your home modifications to enhance your ability to remain safe in your home. So planning for long-term care is really, really practical because it provides you either cash or reimbursement. That, it's, the most common nowadays is cash. Of course, somebody wants cash because I want to like to pay my daughter or a neighbor here for taking money out of my policy. And that's one of the best ways, as a matter of fact. But either way, we can always discuss this on a person-to-person basis here. Depends on your specific needs. So let's talk again. I would like to address the get your house in order, especially the men, us here, that we can always tailor a long-term care policy or any long-term care planning. Because let's consider long-term care of one important aspect. And you should plan it seriously, plan for it today, even though information that you need, always feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to help. My goal is to really reach out and educate everybody because long-term care indeed provides a financial peace of mind. God bless everybody.
Hello, my name is Graham Woods. I am an entrepreneur. I grew up in the Philadelphia area, went to Temple University, lived my whole life out in the Germantown, Chestnut Hill, Mount Airy section of the city. And I've lived my life. My dad was an entrepreneur, taught me 90% of what I know. And then I had to go to school, get a little bit more. And I'm glad and thankful that I've been invited by Christian Men Inc. here to talk on the subject of getting your house in order. So my company, GS Woods Wealth Management, and my topic that I'm calling is value acceleration to achieve greater profits and liquidity. In lay people's terms, it may be, you may say how to get yourself liquid, whether you want to cash out or increase cash flow. So on a full introduction, I'm a wealth manager and investment banker focused on sell-side mergers and acquisitions. I work exclusively with business owners, entrepreneurs and their families, and managing their family enterprise. Normally, I don't read off the screen like this, but I decided that I really wanted to share this information with everybody. So I just threw everything I was going to say right up on the screen. So I'll be reading it. But everything, if you want to come back to these slides later on, everything I say, most of it should be up here. I have a few disclosures that people need to know that I am an investment advisor representative of GS Woods Financial Solutions, doing business as GS Woods Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. And for investment banking, securities are offered through Finalis Securities LLC, member of FINRA and SIPC. GS Woods Financial Solutions LLC and Finalis Securities LLC are separate, unaffiliated entities. Some background on me. I got my MBA from Arcadia University in global business. For that, we got to travel to Singapore and Peru and get to see how people do business in different markets around the world. I got my bachelor's degree from Temple University. I am a chartered life underwriter, which means that I know way too much about life insurance, but I'm good at estate planning and knowing how to use insurance and doing underwriting to help people preserve their wealth. I'm a chartered financial consultant, which is good for financial planning, and I'm a certified exit planning advisor. My business is focused, again, mostly on entrepreneurs, business owners, and family-owned business. I passed level 1 of the Chartered Financial Analyst exam, which is equity analysts on Wall Street usually have a financial analyst charter, and a lot of the higher-end wealth management advisors have a financial analyst charter. So it's a 3-level exam. I'm studying for level 2, and they consider that almost a master's level training. So it's very interesting, a lot of hard work. I'm a member of the CFA Institute and a member of GARP, which is the Global Association of Risk Professionals. I'm licensed in life, annuities, accident and health insurance, as well as property and casualty insurance. I hold a Series 65 investment advisor license and a Series 63 and Series 79 investment banking representative license. So for this talk, we're going to focus in on wealth management. There are in wealth management and in financial planning, which is kind of the wrapper around wealth management. There are about 7 or 8 areas that financial planners work on. In this talk, we're going to really look at retirement planning, estate planning, and value acceleration for business owners. So this I would consider advanced investment planning, and I'm going to tell you why in a moment. So for business owners, again, that's the the market we're talking about. But I'm also talking about entrepreneurs, people that want to get there and are thinking about starting something. There are three major planning gaps. Excuse me. Three major planning gaps. They are the wealth gap, the value gap, and the profit gap. The wealth gap is the difference between your current net worth and the level of net worth needed to achieve your personal financial goals. That's especially with retirement living goals and with your estate or legacy plan. The value gap is the difference between the current business value, so the how much your business is worth right now, and the value of the businesses that are in best in class in their industry. So the top level, number one businesses. We look at business in terms of a value range. So you could be at the bottom or at the top, and ideally, your business should be, or we want to make it best of class, and we want that value to sit at the top of the range. And then there's the profit gap. And that's the difference between your current profitability your current business profitability and the profitability of businesses that are best of class in your industry. So when talking about retirement, your retirement and estate planning as a business owner are largely dependent on what you do to manage those three gaps. Now, I know that as a business owner, you're not going to invest your money into a retirement plan. It's the hardest thing to convince business owners to take cash that they want to put back into their business and then put it into a retirement plan. Real estate investors, they're the most difficult because in their mind, real estate is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I'm not trying to convince you to do that right now, though you should consider adding that will help you cover some of your gaps. But you're a business person and an entrepreneur. You invest all of your money, time, and energy into your business. So to achieve your financial goals for retirement, which could include selling your business to do the next big thing, all you serial entrepreneurs know about that. I like to help owners manage their biggest retirement asset, and that's their business. I know a lot of guys go and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna build this business." They're 30 years old, 20 years old, 40 years old, and then when I retire, I'm gonna live the life. But they don't really have an idea of what that means. Once you build this business, how does that translate into actually taking out all the money and living the life? You're going to need liquidity for retirement. That can come from income from a highly profitable ongoing business, or from the transfer of all or part of your business to another party, whether that's to family, to a third party, private equity investors, another large company that wants to buy, to the management in the firm. You can do management buyouts, employee stock ownership plans, so you can help your employees buy the business from you. Those are all ways for owners to get a liquidity event to cash out of their business. From the estate planning side, liquidity needs could come at any time. You can experience any of what I call the 5 Ds. That's divorce, disaster. Look at COVID. I just spent the past 5 years in a part of Pennsylvania where they have floods every 5 years, and it wipes out entire neighborhoods. Disability. Probably 1 in 3 people will experience some form of disability for a period of time during their lifetime, during their working life. Disagreement among co-owners. That's one of the biggest destroyers of business, when the partners decide that they no longer want to work together. Or death, and we don't know when that's going to happen. And if you want to leave something for your family that is profitable and working, That's something you should consider. So even if you never want to transfer your business in life, the need for value and value creation is ever present. If you could increase profits now instead of later, why not? Who doesn't like making more money? So the idea is, yeah, there's these things out there, these 5 Ds that no one likes to think about, and I understand that. But if what we're talking about, value acceleration, gets you to make more money, then why not do these things? That doesn't make any sense to not do it, not do this work. It's also apparent that a good estate plan is also a risk management plan, apparent from these 5 Ds. You need to protect business value, and you need to protect family wealth, because whatever you spent the past 20, 30, 40 years building can be wiped out in disability if you don't have a plan to have your business run while you're laid up at home or in the hospital. That could be the end of your business. Value acceleration, I meant to mention that a couple of times. That's something we need to work on. Businesses are valued based mostly on your cash flow. So we help you increase cash flow through, first, risk management. And when I say risk management, I'm not just talking about insurance. And my inner insurance agent doesn't like me to say that, but there's more to it. Managing your risk portfolio means mitigating some risks, but taking on other risks. So you might take on new, more profitable projects. Hiring a sales team, that's risky business. But if you find that rainmaker and he comes in and starts filling up your bank accounts, that was risk worth taking. We increase cash flow through managing income statements, managing your balance sheet, which includes your tangible and intellectual capital, and through managing what is commonly called the 4 intangible capitals: human capital, customer capital, structural capital, and social capital. Okay. The first, and it's debatable, but a lot of people are considering this one of the most important, and it's one of the biggest value killers in business, is the lack of management depth. A lot of you guys have these businesses where you are the sole owner, and you have no employees, and what you really have, it's a business, but it's also a job. And if you go out into the market and you say, yeah, I want to sell this business, no one's going to want to buy this business from you, because you as an individual, you have all the relationships, you have all the knowledge, and know-how in the business. When you leave, the business is not going to exist anymore. There's even businesses out there where they have full teams, but the owners, they don't let their sales manager or their finance manager control anything. So when they leave, if they have a disability, or if they pass away, or if they sell out and move away, the business fails, because no one has all of the knowledge and skill or training to keep that business going. So human capital management is about building your business team of competent management employees, so that when you leave your business can continue to operate without you. This is desirable even before you're ready to exit, because this process builds value into your business, enables people that are looking in from the outside saying, hey, yeah, this is a business I can run. I can go to the beach. Imagine yourself going to the beach, and you don't have to worry about whether projects are being completed or if invoices are being sent. You know that you're still making money while you're taking a nap on the beach. We get you there by helping you build your team. And just as a tidbit, think about what would you do to attract and retain talent in your team? How are you going to get that rainmaker to join your business How are you going to get that office manager or that financial manager that you're going to depend on to want to work in your business? And think about things like management, employee development. What kind of training do these people need to be able to work at your level? Because as an entrepreneur, you guys, you have to admit that you work at a level that most people can't achieve without some extra training, some extra push. So that is the end. In conclusion, I just wanted to show this chart on the value acceleration process that I go through with my clients. Because I am a wealth management firm and investment banking, this is kind of the piece that meshes it all together. You see in the beginning, and under the discovery section, I deal with business valuation, help find the gaps, your profitability and your business value gaps. And then we also do a personal financial and business assessment for the owner and their family to find their needs and what do we need to do with this business to help them fulfill their financial goals and needs going forward. Then we develop an action plan, and a part of that action plan in the prepare section is dealing with de-risking, risk management, because risk can cause a decrease in value of your business. So we want to remove some of that risk. And there's ways we can do that by having more loyal employees, by purchasing insurance, by choosing better projects that have higher returns for the given level of risk. And then when you get to the end, as we get to the decide section, then you get to decide, do you want to keep doing this? Do you want to grow? Or do you want to sell? Or what's the next step? Do you want to go out and go on a acquisition spree and start buying businesses to continue to grow? We don't know. We don't know until we start at the very beginning and do some type of assessment on your current situation. So if I think that's it. If there's more time, I can go back and cover some more topics, but that's what I wanted to cover today. Thank you, Rudy.
So that'll roll. So you can go ahead and just pick up.
All right. So I wanted to go back and first share one of the things that got me to narrow my business focus. It was a sort of an aha moment, and it sort of took me several years of thinking about this. It kept coming back to me. It was a sad, disappointing tale. I had a client, and this was when I was working as a life insurance agent, that had a spouse pass away. And I'm trying to keep this as general as possible so I don't give away any identities. But the spouse was a contractor. He had long-term contracts with several universities and institutions to do work on buildings on their properties, and he had so 2-year, 3-year contracts, and then he passed away. And when he passed away, he didn't have an estate plan to deal with the business, and he didn't really leave instructions with his family on what they should do next. So it's sort of a continuity plan that he should have had in place along with his estate plan, business continuity plan. So when by the time the wife came to me, she had already spoken to accountants and attorneys, and no one could figure out how to help his business, because his business was the first problem from their eyes was that it was a sole proprietorship. And there's some complications that are involved when you pass away and a business goes into your estate. There are some legal complications that causes a question of whether or not the executor is allowed to even continue to operate the business. So really, they have a set amount of time to operate the business while they liquidate it, but no more than that. So unless you set up the business so that it survives you or survives your death, and you leave instructions that enable the business to survive that period when the executor is liquidating the estate, then there's nothing that they can do but sell everything off and the business. She came to me and asked, if I had any ideas. The first things, this was before I started dealing with this exit planning process, even before I was a chartered life underwriter. But I asked, well, what about the employees? Because they had long-term employees. I'm like, is there a foreman there or a senior manager that might be capable of taking over the business? Because what we can do is we can help use the proceeds of the business to help that person finance the purchase of the business, so that the spouse, she could cash out and then the business can continue. Other options, I really couldn't think of any that would really work in this case, because as a sole proprietorship, it wasn't a business. His equipment wasn't business equipment; it was his personal equipment. So there was nothing else there. So this is just an example of what could happen when someone passes away. Another story I remember hearing about was an engineer who did engineering consulting, and he had a team, but he had developed all of the marketing relationships. So no business came in unless he was there shaking hands. And he became ill and started, I think he had Alzheimer's or something like that. And it got to a certain point where he was unable to work in a business, and he was unwilling before then to do what was necessary to help start transferring the business to someone else. So when it got to the point where he was unable to operate the business started hemorrhaging money to the point where it eventually went bankrupt. He was making, in the beginning, when he was healthy, it was a multi-million-dollar business. He's bringing in 7-8 figures based on his engineering consulting, and then it went down to zero because he didn't have a plan. So what's important here, and because this topic is helping for men and young men getting your house in order, this is all about managing your wealth, your family wealth, and your family enterprise. I look at the business that you have, the assets that you have, your home, your car, your estate. If you're thinking about family, it's a family enterprise. If you're not thinking about family, but these are the things that are in your house. And we want to go back to focusing in on wealth management and talking about these topics that people need to look at: risk planning, education planning, getting yourself in a position to do the things that you want to do. It's okay to continue to go to school. I'm still learning. You would think I've learned enough, but I'm always there's always more that I don't know. Tax planning, choosing the right business form, or choosing the right place to have your business. Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. These are all critical aspects of business planning and personal planning. My wife was talking about looking for work in New Jersey, and I told her no, because I heard about the taxes in New Jersey. So I was like, I don't want to go to New Jersey. I want to stay in Pennsylvania so we could spend our money on us, not on who's the governor of New Jersey now. I don't know. And then retirement planning, you need to start now. Ideally, as soon as you get your first job, you need to start thinking about what you're going to do in retirement and how you're going to survive, because we don't know if there's going to be Social Security for you. Even if there is Social Security, I know from watching family and friends, Social Security is not enough to live comfortably in this day and age. You're looking at inflation risk. Just this last quarter, the first quarter, I think inflation was at 7 or 8%. So we're accustomed to seeing 3% long-term inflation, 3.6, 3.7% long-term inflation. Inflation was double of what is the norm this past year. And so whatever you're looking at right now as how things cost, think about 30, 40, 50 years from now, how much that's going to cost if prices keep going up the way they are right now. And then you want to look at from not just if you're not running a business, but if you're just a regular person, investment planning. But investment planning, you want to look at investment and risk planning, because we look at in finance, we manage investments, we manage investment portfolios by measuring risk. So when you're looking at whether or not you're going to look at stocks or bonds, or you're going to buy real estate, we look at risk. So all of that starts to mix together when you start doing risks planning and insurance planning. I like to call it your risk portfolio, and allocating. We're not just allocating investments or looking for certain levels of return, but we're allocating risk in different parts of your financial plan to help you achieve your goals. So we're not looking to hit it out of the park with a 10%, 20%, 30% return on investment. We're trying to get you to hit your goals. So that's what I wanted to thank Christian Men Inc. again for this program. Get your house in order. This is some really important stuff, and I hope you guys take what I have and expand on it, and maybe come back and teach me something. Thank you.